We are joined by, Brian Vendig. Brian Vendig of MJP Partners. Always great to see you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Give us your take on the markets right now. It does seem there's a frisson of fear around these tech stocks.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. I think, investors are hedging a little bit after a strong week last week. And, all eyes are on next week's Fed rate decision. And we have some inflation numbers coming out on Friday for the month of September. I think at the end of the day, though, when you look back at the companies that have reported so far for Q3 earnings, they've definitely exceeded analyst expectations with year-over-year growth of about 13%, with expectations going into the quarter around 8 to 9%. I think right now, when we look at, some deleveraging coming out of crypto, yen, interest rates going up actually in Japan, affecting, currency. I mean, today's just a day, I think we're taking a little bit of profits coming off of a strong week last week.
You think it is a time to consider owning more dividend-paying stocks?
Well, I mean, I don't think the AI investment trade is completely a bust. I think there is concerns about valuation and CapEx spending. Can this continue at these levels next year? And I think that the spending will probably moderate, but I still think there's productivity gains and societal benefits that AI is going to play out, which will help companies' profits and bottom lines. But opportunities do exist because of earnings growth and expansion of multiples in areas outside of tech. We see those in outlooks for 2026. So looking at mid-cap stocks, value, dividend-oriented stocks, as you mentioned, Andrew, as well as I think, within that dividend complex, healthcare, industrials, financials are some areas to keep an eye on.
Are you talking Canada or the States here?
Well, I think generally speaking, domestic and international on that value side make a lot of sense. If you look at Canada specifically, let's talk about commodity-based businesses. I think that's a good uplift when considering changes in currency valuation. I think financial sector overall for the North American continent is an opportunity with a steepening yield curve. But when you look at valuations, international equities do present an opportunity, especially if you believe that U.S. dollar strength would moderate or be benign over the course of 26. So it all comes back to earnings at the end of the day. We're not foreseeing a recession next year. The Fed's moving more neutral, and those are things that help to support equity valuations.
What is your feeling on oil and energy right now?
Well, I think right now, on an overall basis for oil, it feels like there's a little bit of a supply glut, a little bit more supply than demand. But when you look at outlooks for energy requirements over the balance of this decade, there's still a strong demand for all types of energy, oil being included. So do we expect prices to really spike up in the oil complex over the next 12 months or so? Not really, but do we expect that there's a demand for electricity and other sources of energy inputs into the supply chain? Absolutely. When you think about some of the investments that are happening in the infrastructure as well as the electrification space in supporting AI innovation.
And one type of stock that you are interested in owning is the big software security stocks. And not necessarily Palo Alto Networks, I know, but names like that anyway.
Yeah, I think, software's been in a penalty box, over the course of this year. And recently, in the last couple of weeks, we've seen a pullback in cybersecurity. And I think, over the course of next year, there's going to be more and more demand as things continue to be built out in the AI innovation trend, that software is going to necessarily, and cybersecurity has to be part of that equation. Plus, with so many different cybersecurity and software offerings that are out there, we expect that in a lower interest rate environment, there's probably going to be an uptick in M&A, which might also be quite beneficial for shareholders.
We'll have to leave it there. Brian, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Brian Vendig of MJP Partners.